Good morning and welcome to Legally Speaking with attorney Antoinette Osbourne. This program is for information purposes only. If you need legal advice, you can contact me, Antoinette Osbourne, at 718-502-9137. That's 718-502-9137. The office focuses on divorce, immigration, bankruptcy, real estate, and estate matters. We also do eviction proceedings. There is a second office in Jamaica, West Indies that focuses on legal representation if you are looking to buy or sell property in Jamaica, or if you're looking to wrap up an estate. I don't know what happened to the other live. It was not connecting, and as such, I had to restart the live. So this morning, just an FYI with regards to people who are looking to renew their green cards, the extension that is being issued. Initially, when you were renewing your green card, you never even got an extension. And then they started with a 12-month extension period. And because of the backlog, it increased to 24 months. But as of September 10th, this extension is going to be for a period of 36 months. So what that indicates is that USCIS is once again backlogged and it is taking time to process these applications. So as of September 10th, if you are filing to renew your green card, you will get a receipt notice that extends your green card for 36 months. For those of you where you had absolutely no expiration date, or if you add, because you have to add the extension to when the green card expires. If you actually add that 36 months, which is 3 years, and in fact, your green card is still expired, what you will be required to do is to make an appointment for an aided stamp. Now, if the green card is actually lost, then you are going to have to get an aided stamp in your passport. So just an FYI, for those of you who are looking to renew the green card, the extension is going to be for a period now of 36 months. Gone are the days of the 24 months. Starting September 10th, your receipt notice, and if you're traveling, you should be traveling, provided, of course, that you still fall within a valid period. Because if the green card has expired, let's say from 2016, adding 36 months is going to put you to a date in 2019. So for someone like you, you are definitely going to need an aided stamp. If you have lost the actual physical card, you're going to have to call the customer service hotline and request an aided stamp. Now, when traveling and the green card is expired and you have this extension notice, then you're traveling with your passport, and the passport must be valid. The passport cannot be expired. So you're traveling with your passport, you're also traveling with the green card, and you're traveling with this receipt notice. So there are 3 things that you travel with when the green card is expired and you have the extension. However, there is a warning to this. If it is that having added that 36 months, your green card is still expired, you're going to need an aided stamp. And you can get this by calling USCIS, their customer service number, and request the aided stamp. All right, so today I wanted to focus on good moral character. It's something I have spoken about. I'm just going to give you some pointers because a lot of you, you're looking to do citizenship applications, or you may know someone in removal proceedings. And this is usually a requirement that you must have good moral character, right? So people who are habitual drunkards. If you are a habitual drunkard, you do not have good moral character. And this is something that immigration has emphasized, because we have too many people drinking, driving, and just causing injuries or death or destruction to property. And it really needs to stop. So if you are a habitual drunkard, it's not going to work out for you. If you have 2 or more DUIs, so if you have 2 or more DUIs in the good moral character time frame, and if you're filing for your citizenship, this is a 5-year period, right? And if it is, and that good moral character, that 5-year period extends up until the date of your interview, right? So what you'll find is if you get arrested after you have filed the application, whether your charges are pending or whether you have been convicted of a crime that rejects this good moral character, then what you'll find is that citizenship application will get denied. And this is why where you take in your dispositions, the officer is looking at the time period, right? Morning, Sandy. The officer is actually looking at the time period, and it is the time period when you are convicted. He counts from that date. So for people who have, and I think we're all grown, I think everybody should be responsible with your drinking. If you know you want to go out and you want to drink, have someone who is teetotal, someone who doesn't drink, or someone who is sober enough to drive you. People with 2 or more DUIs, and I don't think, because people thinking, oh, it's just a little, and I haven't really been convicted of a crime, it's just a little alcohol. This is not a little alcohol when you're looking to apply for your citizenship. It's very important when you have 2 or more DUIs, and I think our criminal justice system is so tired of these DUIs that I think, I'm not a criminal attorney, but I think after the second DUI, yeah, you're going to have to do some jail time. So trying to rehabilitate people, I mean, as a grown person, there's no reason why, someone should be controlling your life, that you are blowing into a machine. I think everybody should be responsible enough with their alcohol intake. We don't need people who have 2 DUIs within that good moral character period, and now it's affecting your ability to get citizenship. It doesn't make sense. So good morning. If you're just joining us, we are focusing on good moral character, how it affects you when you are in deportation or if you are applying for your citizenship. This is such an important requirement, and I don't think people really understand the gravity of it. It is something that is a factor that is taken into account. All right. Your willfulness to support dependents. Yeah. So they're looking at your child support payments, right? And this is hard for some men where they're not going through the court system. They're sending the person monies, but then the child's mother is not going to give them that notarized letter that basically says that they're supporting the child. And I had one officer once where it is clearly being wired, right? Monies are being sent to the person. Western Union receipts being sent to the person. And the officer said, I don't know if that's her. So unless you're going through the court system and you have had an order where there's some sort of independent verification. Is either you're going to have something through the court system where you have an order, because obviously the judge verified that this is a woman who is collecting the monies, or she went to a notary and she gave sworn testimony that she is in fact getting this money. You come in with your receipts, that doesn't help you, right? And it's so sad because you have guys who are actually doing it. You know, they like, especially in our community, they like to cast aspersions on our men. But you have guys who are, they are doing it, they are supporting their children, and you have these Jezebels who will not give them a letter. And I think, especially where you are with someone who you break up, you're no longer together, and she's fully much aware that you want to apply for your citizenship, some of them are going to be extremely spiteful and don't issue that letter. For some guys, I tell them, go and put yourself on child support, because here it is, you have a court order and you pay in accordance with the court order. But what is killing for some women is when the men put themselves on child support, sometimes they end up paying less. Yeah. So I've had clients who come to me and they're like, oh, they want to put him on child support. And I'm like, well, how much are you getting? And when I calculate the person's income and what they're rightly supposed to be paying you, sometimes it comes out to be a lower figure. So for those people, I send them home. It doesn't make sense. Someone is extending themselves, you're getting your monies on time, and sometimes they are in fact paying you more than what you're supposed to get. I know you're going to put that person on support for what? To get less? The maths is not mathing. You don't make sense. And for those of you who want to rush to court and to put men who are willingly paying you that child support monies, be very careful, because sometimes you're going to end up paying less. I'll never forget my client was from Nigeria, had a very good job, hard worker, and the girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, because he moved on, but he was still maintaining the child, and she decided she was going to file for child support. And I think he used to do a lot of things. I think he was still paying the rent and giving her monies. So when we actually went to court and the magistrate calculated how much he was supposed to pay, she came out $800 less, right? And I'll never forget him. And it's so funny, you know, he referred a client to me the other day, but it's like, you have to be very careful how you run after someone who is actually paying you. And worse, if they're paying you more than what you're supposed to get. I think child support court is it's a true formula for birth control, right? Because the awards that are given, I have guys who come to me, some are seeking modifications, they're not eligible for it. I'm not going to put in an application for them. If they want to go and do it on their own, that's fine. You don't just get a modification like that. But for those of you who have your child support obligations, especially when it's paid through the court system, it's paid through support collections unit. When you owe 4 months or more, you have to understand the enforcement arm. You're losing your passport. Yeah. So you want to go away with your girlfriend, you're going on a trip, and you're at the airport, you can't leave because you owe child support. So support collections unit has now canceled that passport, canceled that driver's license, canceled that professional license. So, you know, just don't have immigration to worry about. You have your means to, how is it that you're going to survive, to worry about. So, and really, do you really have good moral character if you're not supporting your children? Your children need to eat. And I think one of the issues is people will complain that, oh, you know, the mother getting the money and blah. Your child is living somewhere. I want you to understand the practicality of making your child support payment. Child lives somewhere. Most of these kids right now, when they get their homework, they have to have internet connection. They're eating. They are being taken to the doctor. Somebody has to be paying for this. And sometimes the amount of the award of child support is not that much. And it's like the mother doing it by herself. So this is why when you don't make your child support payments or you don't fulfill your obligations to support your dependent, you don't have good moral character. You're not getting that citizenship. Yeah. Good moral character is a requirement. And when your application, you're in removal proceedings, this is so important for you. All right. This is, to me, I don't know if the officers down south, if they look into this, but this up north, this really does not hold weight when you say that this person, if they engage in this, they don't have good moral character. Because possibly a lot of the people in New York would not, or up north would just not get the citizenship. So let's look at this. Extramarital affairs tending to destroy existing marriages. This shows that you don't have good moral character. And I'll never forget this. This lady found out her husband was cheating on her. And the girlfriend now was supposed to go to the embassy because she see the plans, right? She's able to see the messages between the husband and the girlfriend. So now she realized that the girlfriend now is going to the embassy to apply for a visitor's visa. And she just sent the girl information and everything about her, how this girl is looking to destroy her marriage. And of course, and she wants to come up here, come run off and come and take her husband. And of course, that visa application was denied. Yeah. So for those of you who are engaging in these affairs that are destroying existing marriages, yeah, you're not going to be deemed to have good moral character, right? So, I mean, it is what it is. Let's look at types of people now who are deemed not to have good moral character. I think someone asked a question, but let me try and get to this. Let me see here. I was supposed to have this up. Visually challenged, so I can't see so far. Hold on 1 second. All right, let me. All right, so Graham says, good morning, Miss Osbourne. 2 more days until the big day, but my anxiety is killing me because I like crowd. Kirk here. Oh my God. Oh, trust me. I want to bring Kirk on so I can hear about a real Jezebel, but we're expecting only positive things. Kirk, I'm so happy for you. All right. If you are a prostitute, I know New York City and emphasis on the city. I think they're probably issuing like a summons now for prostitution. They're not gonna arrest you. So I had this gentleman just trying to find out. So I won't get arrested. I'm like, my God, is he really just sitting in here telling me how he's really ordering prostitutes? But some people, it's not for me to judge. But if you are a prostitute, you do not have good moral character, right? All right, let's look at a polygamist. For those of you who you're not familiar with this, and I was like, for one of my clients, and this has happened, right? For one of my clients who was, because this is even taken in, of course, in your green card application. And it was a concern for me because, and this is where if you are served with a summons for a divorce, I want you to follow through and ensure that the divorce judgment is actually easier. I have had clients where they start the divorce and then they just disappear. Like, what? You're texting, you're calling, you are sending letters, nothing, no communication. So the wife being served probably thinks that this divorce is complete, but it's not. So if you're served with a summons, don't just assume, because some people don't care. They're very grateful that their divorce has been filed. As attorneys, you have to mail a copy of that final judgment to the adversary. And I'll never forget when I mailed a copy of the judgment to this one lady. She called me and she said, "These are the best thing you could have sent for me. This man was the worst man me ever meet in my life." And she said, basically, me had a real G in this because I gave her the best gift that there was to give. Because she just get rid of her waste man. Yeah, man, she done my client, man. All right, smugglers. You have to be careful. For people who are smuggling people into the United States, you don't have good moral character, for that citizenship. All right, let's look at people who are convicted of multiple crimes involving moral turpitude. So there is no definition for what is a crime involving moral turpitude, but it really involves like theft crimes and assault crimes which by their very nature will shock the conscience of society. All right, drug crimes. Drug crimes, except, of course, one single act of possession of marijuana, 30 grams or less. This is the only exception for the drug crime, right? Or if however you're caught, some states, if you're caught in a drug-free zone, such as like a school zone, back in the day, they used to have these drug-free zones, even if it's 30 grams or less, this is not, you're not going to be found to have good moral character. So just be very careful. All right. If you have been arrested, I need you to look at your disposition. Anybody who has been arrested, you should have a certified copy of your court disposition. Certified copy of your court disposition, because of course it has to be authenticated. People are making up things at their house. They need to feel that court seal. And I would encourage people not to be making up documents to take into immigration. You have to understand, when you're going before an officer, you're actually going before someone who is a trained fraud investigator. Yeah. And things that you may not think of, these people are well trained so that they can spot fraud. Don't be making up any fake documents and take into your interview. Yeah. You'd be surprised. Probably you're not paying your rent. So you decide you're going to do a letter for your landlord, unknown to your landlord. Immigration contacts your landlord, right? So I want to encourage you, make sure that you're not making up documents. And when immigration, especially when they call an immigrant, the immigrant could be a citizen. They get tense, right? And they're going to say, "I did not write that letter." And that's the same for like job letters, right? They're going to call and speak to the signer, verifying that the signer actually holds a position at the company. Having verified that, then they're going to authenticate the document. Did you sign this? And if the person did not sign it, they're talking to the government. You think they're going to say, "Oh, I signed it"? No, I have had cases and where people have come to me and they've been denied because immigration contacted the landlord and the landlord says, "I didn't sign that letter." So now we have misrepresentation. So as a result of that misrepresentation, now we need a waiver, And it's crazy. I had a client where we had to, I think it's on our third application, and we submitted the waiver, yeah, that this occurred, right? And I remember the officer called the office. And nobody really wants to get a call from government. And I remember the officer called the office, and oh my God, I had to go through everything, you know, but stress, unnecessary stress. But thank God my client is a green card holder today. So the aim is to assist people to get their status, to maintain their status, right? We really don't want to put people in or assist in getting them removed. So me personally, if I know that this is a one-way ticket back home, I'm not putting in anything for you, right? Absolutely nothing. All right, expunge crimes. This is something I see a lot. Well, this for Jamaica. People will expunge their criminal history. They come with a clean police record, and they make a false representation that they have never been arrested, because possibly once the arrest is found out, they are inadmissible and they may not even be eligible for a waiver. So what a lot of people will do, some jurisdictions allow for an expungement. I know for my clients who are going to the embassy, we're revealing this because I don't want anything to come back and haunt you. And they've had, for those who have had arrests, and one of the worst things that you can find out is after you have submitted the papers. I tell you, I've had clients, remember, they were arrested the night before their interview because they had a dream, right? And they're like, oh, Antoinette, I forget to tell me what. I remember one specific client, there was, I don't know it going Jamaica. So there was this girl who did that with the girl man, right? And anyway, the girl book her instant fight. So she tried to break up with the man now left her. But the girl, who obviously is a matey, right? Anyway, she book her, problem. So the first time they went to court, of course, the judge was female, and sometimes culturally you have to understand, say the girl is actually coming after her, blah, 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 and she just saw the nonsense. So she threw out the case. Second time now, because my client is such that she's not gonna trouble you, but if you rush her, she's going to defend it. The girl come again, yeah? I mean, I know sometimes, ladies, you really have to know when to try and escape some of these men. It's not even worth it. Some girl coming up in your face, no, she can't have him. Pack him up, put a bow, give the girl the man, yeah? This sharing and caring thing, I know there's a shortage out there, but yes, sometimes you have to give the girl the man. Girl come back a second time. So not only has she been arrested once, she's been arrested twice. None of this was remembered when we were putting in the application. So when we go now to the interview and we're walking to the officer, we're walking and she's now telling me of this. Of course, when we put in the papers, it has that she has never been arrested. So as we go in now, full clearance, and because I'm not worried about this, the cases were dismissed. But then on the paper, me say she was never arrested. Yeah. So we have to clear this up, because remember, they search in your home country of all your arrests. So on my mind is, Lord Jesus, them come and find out, say, no, she's been arrested. On the paperwork, we say she has never been arrested. So immediately as I walk in, I reveal this, that look, she's been arrested twice. Both cases were dismissed. And the officer was like, well, nothing never come up in her background check. So now you have to tell the officer now what happened, right? Because they want to know what happens. Because if in telling your story, you admit to the elements of a crime, that's also a conviction, even though your case was thrown out. So anyway, so now we're in before this immigration officer, and thank God it's a woman. Because as a woman, sometimes you can't understand some girl just to make your life really hard over one man. Boy, you got left anyway. Yeah? So now the officer listen. So by the time we reach a second fight, no, she said, so wait, you like to fight? So my client said, fight what? She said, miss, fight where? Anywhere the girl see me, she attack me. And that's true. You know how it got back home. Yeah? When them a try fight and take your man. But ladies, trust me, move on. Get another man. All right. People who give false testimony. If you have given false testimony to receive any form of immigration benefit, yeah, this prevents good moral character, right? All right. Morning, Marge. All right. So it is what it is. Now, this is where a lot of people get caught. Some people will fail to reveal their children, and their children are back home wondering, why is it that my parent is not filing for me? Especially where you have gotten married and you have a very young child, right? Where obviously there was a relationship right before your husband. So the question is, when did you have this relationship? The child has a different father. It's not your husband's child. So these are the things that will, what we call, open a line of inquiry, because these are the indicators to the officer whether or not, when you're receiving that green card as a result of a marriage-based application, whether or not that marriage really is a bona fide marriage. And where you've cut off this line of inquiry, applications have been denied because you failed to reveal children on your visa application. And now when you're doing your citizenship, you're now revealing these kids. Because when these kids, I'll never forget, we were filing for this gentleman and he didn't have his children on the application. And this is something we asked them. I don't know you from Adam, so it's whatever you provide to me and also whatever documents you provide that supports what you have stated in the application. So the officer says, do you have any children, right? And he looks at me and I'm like, because I know the answer is no. In the interview, he goes, I have 4 kids. What? What? Yeah, 4. So the officer says, well, they weren't on the application. And I'll tell you this, now putting them on the application, you're going to have a hurdle ever filing for them. So now I have to be taking the name of the kids and the name of the date of birth. I mean, things like that. You really, I know this is a very intense application, but your children, you really shouldn't forget. Yeah. Thank God none of the kids in this application cast any sort of aspersions on his marriage, because these are grown kids. But remember your kids. Yeah. All right. Let's look at unlawful acts. So we're focusing on good moral character this morning, how it can affect your citizenship, your green card applications. If you are in removal proceedings, we're looking at, what will prevent a finding of good moral character. So I want to look at some illegal acts now that prevent it, right? If you have been convicted and you are appealing that decision, right? That's still a conviction for immigration. So if you're looking to file for your citizenship and this is going on, you're not going to have the good moral character. Because even though you're appealing, that conviction still stands unless it's overturned. We want to look at bail jumping, right? You get bail and then you decide to run. And when you get bail, someone puts up collateral for you. And I remember this girl, she had put, I don't know, I can't recall whether it was $5,000 or $10,000 for her cousin with ICE. And her cousin jumped bail. So, of course, they reach out to her to let her know that money is going to be forfeited. I think if someone is kind enough, and this is where people do not appreciate kindness, if someone is kind enough to put up their hard-earned money for you so that you can get freedom, right? Because I think people would want to, whilst their trial is proceeding, be actually on bail than in jail, right? So someone has put up their hard-earned money. And I remember when I was in criminal court in Jamaica, and you're doing your case, and I saw this woman crying. And I'm like, my God, what's going on? I think she had put her house up for her son, and the boy jumped bail. Boy, I'm telling you. Anyway, bank fraud. And it's just crazy to me how, and this is where a depressed economy, people are turning geniuses in order to scam your money. And just be very careful. Where I've had a client come to me, he was undocumented and his English wasn't so good. And I don't know where people get people's information from. He said the only thing he could remember doing was going to the library and giving his information. But what happened was somebody called him and they said that, how he owes money and they pretended to be immigration. And how I know that pretended to be immigration, I call back the number that they gave him. And back in the day, immigration used to have this music playing, right? And you call the number and it was the same music. And I remember, the guy was so scared. And I remember I contacted immigration myself, called him to say, look, you have people calling from this number, pretending. And the guy was like, okay, he's going to take it and pass it on to whoever. But when people are so dangerous, I've had where clients re-rent their place 30 something times, especially in anybody who is looking to rent a place. Do your due diligence. You have scammers now, they're not even the owners of the house, and they're renting the property to multiple people. You just have to be very careful. Right now we are in a depressed economy, right? All this thing how, oh, the job market is great, whatever. You have people now who are unemployed, who are hungry. And one of the indicators you can see is from the food pantry lines. They are getting longer. You have people who are struggling, right? So all this wonderful job report that is coming out where people are losing their jobs, right? Anyway, false claims to US citizenship is a permanent bar, and they have even incorporated that question. It wasn't on the I-485. They have since incorporated that question. I think the only form that has been revised that has made it so simple for immigrants is now the application for citizenship, right? Because they've removed some of the ambiguity from the form. So it's very manageable to complete. But be very careful of when you're filling out that driver's license application. There is a part that encourages you to register to vote. Do not check off anything there, because by completing that section, you are doing a false claim to citizenship. And anyone doing the citizenship application, it will ask you if you've ever registered to vote, if you've ever falsely claimed to be a US citizen. Just be very careful, right? Sexual assault cases. The only people I feel sorry for in this is if, other than, of course, legitimate victims, if you are, I call it attention seeker, where you go ahead and you lie on someone where they have not assaulted you. I don't think people understand the devastation of being accused of this crime where it is not a legitimate complaint. For girls who do this wrongfully, I'm taking out of this scenario real victims who are victims of sexual assault. My focus is on the Jezebel who goes and lies on someone. I have had clients come and tell me that the tenant, because they are evicting them, planning to go to the precinct to lie and say that they were assaulted. You just have to be so careful. This is a crime that by its very nature is so heinous. I don't think anybody wants to get accused of this crime if they are innocent in all of this. And I don't think people understand how it destroys people's lives. And for ladies who are out there and you're seeking a partner, a mate, a husband, when you meet somebody, run them through. You should in your conversations get like an address history. Immigration takes an address history. I think if you're bringing someone into your life, you need an address history. One of the reasons you should get an address history, you need to be searching the sexual offense registry, the sex offender registry in every state that that person lived. This place, I don't know. I don't know how times have changed. I think people live in a fairy tale world. They create a life for themselves that does not exist. And I don't think I've ever been in a place where people just lie for no reason, right? And I think people are so caught up in a fantasy that they have lost touch with reality. And you have to be very careful, right? I don't know. People are just protect yourself out there. I just find that people, that's why people will be people, but it's a certain type of person who would go to the extent to create a fake life for themselves that does not exist. And this is why I know for me, culturally, I speak to everybody, but my real hardcore friends doesn't really come outside my culture, you know? I can't understand the nature of people just to lie for the dumbest of things. Yeah. But when you're lying on these immigration forms, no, there are severe consequences for it. Yeah. All right. Social security fraud. You ever see someone yet getting social security disability and nothing wrong with them? How? Social security fraud definitely prevents good moral character, unlawfully registering to vote, right? For people who are in removal proceedings, the manner of your entry, when you have multiple illegal entry into the United States, this prevents good moral character. And I'll tell you this, I have one of the things that people are not aware of, because I don't think you could be aware of this. I had a gentleman, and this was just so sad to hear. He was in the United States and he had put in an application. He got denied. He went to Canada, and you have to understand, Canada and the United States are like brothers and sisters. It's an easy transfer of information. And his wife is here. And it would have been so simple, because the last time he was in the United States, he had overstayed, he left. So yes, he would have been subject to a bar, but a bar that could be waived. And they said I spoke to an attorney. I can't believe any attorney would be so wicked. But the attorney said, come back over. Now, this is a guy who had overstayed in the United States overstayed his time by like 3 or 4 years. And yes, he would be subject to the 10-year bar, but they could have applied for it to be waived because the wife's medical condition was like a great basis to apply for this unlawful presence waiver, right? He said he was told to come back over. So he re-entered, you see, because you have so many people crossing the border illegally. People think they can just come, and it's easy for them because I see everybody getting a work permit, right? So they think it's just so easy to come. They're going to get a work permit. What they don't understand is most of these people are filing frivolous asylum claims that we're in the future will permanently block them from ever getting a green card, right? Some people are getting their court dates. They're not even going because they have that 5-year work permit. They don't care. But what's happening is for you don't show up to your court date, they make an order in your absence, right? So now you have an order of deportation. In any event, the gentleman was here, went to Canada, doing very well. His wife, however, is here. So he wants to now come back. He was told to come back. But what people don't understand is you are here out of status side year. You come back and you're illegally re-entered. So now you're subject to what is called a permanent bar, where it's a 20-year bar. So by that one act, he moved from a 10-year bar to a 20-year bar. 10 years of which you must serve outside the country. So nobody can put in any papers for him. And it was just so devastating where it wouldn't have been an easy application before, but it was a doable application before. And now by encouraging this man to come over illegally, I said, did you tell them that you were here for 3 years? He's like, Antoinette, they know everything. And this to me was a devastation because now the man is going to be here hiding, well-educated man. You put this man in a position where he leaves his good job, come here, and now he has to live under the shadows because anybody put in that application for him, it's a one-way ticket out of the country. Heartless. Anyway, it is what it is. Tax returns. So important. Providing false information on your tax returns. And this often is with self-employed people. Sometimes I see tax returns coming in, they're netting $4,000-5,000 for the year. I'll never forget, I was in an interview once, and the officer said, "You're married?" you have a child, and you're showing you only made $5,000 for the year. Yeah? It doesn't make sense. How are you supporting your family? But thank God. Hi, Sebastian. Good morning. All right, hold on. I'll tell you the stories. Let me just finish this, Sebastian. And so you said, how are you supporting yourself? Because right now, I'm telling you that fraud training kicks into play. But thank God they were living with the wife's family. The wife's father was helping them out. And they weren't paying rent, right? And she would work sometimes. So just be very careful of the tax returns. I've had people filing for their spouse and they're claiming their brother, a big grown man. Yeah? An officer says, because she said she only had one child. So the officer takes the paper, looks at the name, then realizes the age of the person. I said, who is this? And she said, it's my brother. But what happened was the tax preparer kept leaving the brother's name on her tax returns for like 3 years. So the officer said, I was going to approve this green card for your husband today, but I'm not. You have provided false information on your tax return. Because, of course, by claiming extra dependence, you're getting a bigger refund. Monies you're taking from the government that you're not entitled to. So we had to amend the tax returns, resubmit, and that's when the husband got the green card. But if you're filing for your citizenship and this is discovered, one of the dangers is if the loss to the government is more than $10,000 in revenue, you have now committed an aggravated felony. Yeah. So if you have to understand, one federal agency is going to cooperate with another federal agency. And this is like going into court, right? This often happens in divorce proceedings where your spouse was very much aware that you are cheating the government. And however, you're divorcing now, so she's not your friend. So she's going to make one phone call, or in her testimony, the judge in the divorce case realizes, because you get dig now, right? And this I know for me has allowed me to, it's nearly like a forced settlement, because if this goes before the judge as an officer of the court, she has to refer you to the IRS, right? And when the IRS finds that you're lying, they're going to refer you to the U.S. attorney for prosecution, because it's a federal crime. So if the officer, in having your documents, realizes that you're lying and you have defrauded the government, guess what's going to happen? So now this is going to be referred to the IRS. This is the danger now, because not only is a possibility if they find that you have defrauded for 10,000 or more, because the immigration officer can't calculate because he's not an IRS person, but the IRS agent can calculate. And when this goes for prosecution and you owe the government more than 10,000, that one simple citizenship application where you're just applying for your citizenship turns out to now be a criminal case. And now you've placed yourself in a position where you're going to get deported. I've had people who have come to me for citizenship application. I'm not putting it in. It's going to buy them a one-way ticket home. Yeah. All right. It is what it is. Let me see Sebastian's question. Sebastian says, good morning, Auntie Fumi. My wife got her American passport this week, but a certificate of citizenship was not returned. Is this a new thing or did they make a mistake? How do we get back the certificate? Thanks and remain blessed. Yeah, they will actually return it. So they probably have not sent it back as yet, but it is going to get returned. They don't keep your certificate of citizenship. Definitely, it is going to get returned. All right, so it is 10:10. Thank you for joining us this morning. I hope I have not missed anybody's question. Let me just check. Let me see. All right. So morning, Steffi. All right. And good morning, Renee. So we're here Sundays at 9-ish on Sundays. We weren't here for a while, but we are back. Thanks for joining us this morning. So the focus was on good moral character. We want to encourage you to have good moral character so your applications can get approved. All right. Take care. Have a blessed Sunday. See you here next Sunday at 9-ish. Bye.